Good afternoon or early evening. It's Sunday early evening here in Shizuoka. So I have some more news updates. Where to begin? Well, bottled water is still pretty much sold out. So is instant ramen. Today I went to a local bakery, uh, one that is actually my favorite bakery, and when I arrived about 11 a.m., they didn't have any bread. That's not particularly surprising because bakeries here have a tendency to open late. I think bakers in Japan like to sleep in. They don't wake up with the dawn. So he said, okay, well, the bread will be done in 30 minutes. So I said, great. So went over to my friend's office and we hung out there for a little while. About an hour later, came back, figured I'd get a couple batards or a baguette or something, and guess what? All gone, sold out. Less than 30 minutes, all the bread was gone. I got a lot of apologies, which is usual procedure here in Japan, a lot of sumimasens, but the bread was gone. Let's say some other that's unusual. The bread was all gone in 30 minutes. Let's see more. I've been told by someone who had some experience with Chernobyl that I should expect not to consume any milk or mushrooms, as both of those have a tendency to acquire, shall we say, radioactivity, so to speak. And yesterday in the newspaper it was reported that spinach and milk had come up positive for the radioactivity. So I think this is the slow, ugly slope towards the what little percent currently Japan about only provides about 40% of its caloric intake. So this is the ugly slippery slope of now the 40% that's remaining domestically grown, domestically produced, is now potentially hazardous. So I think there's going to be some blowback on that, and I'm not sure exactly how that's going to play itself out. But when I do think of some theory about it, I'll post it here. The other thing I wanted to mention was that that here in another town near the Fukushima reactor, that there are large numbers of people. I don't, large is particularly vague, because I don't know, right? But there's large numbers of people who want to evacuate and had only belatedly decided to evacuate. And that right now, at the end of March, is actually the end of the school year. So it kind of, in a kind of gruesome sort of way, the tsunami, the earthquake, coincided nicely with the end of the school season. And so parents who might have otherwise have stayed now have really no reason to stay, and they're bugging out. And so a friend of a friend who lived, I think it was about 50 miles from the plant, he had half a tank of gas. He put his wife and his 3 kids in the car, and they bugged out. And they drove all night. They drove 2 days to get to Shikoku, which is where her parents live. And I don't know how long they're staying there, but his job was at the local university, and I don't think the local university is opening up anytime soon. So this is just a taste of what we can expect. So what happens to that guy's job? I don't know. What are his kids going to do? What school are they going to go to? I guess they transfer to Shikoku. I don't know. What do? You got 3 kids. You can't stay at home. You don't have a job. uh, it's just beginning. And then if you think about it even a little bit deeper, this is the lucky guy. This is the guy that had the car, that had a half a tank of gas, and had the free time and the kind of the will to decide to bug out. Now think about like a single mom or someone without a car, or I mean, what are they going to do? They got to hunker down. There's no choice. There's no gasoline available. If you can't drive your car out of the danger zone, there's nowhere to fuel up. And despite the best efforts of everyone involved, there just doesn't seem to be a lot of materials flowing into the zone that's really helping these people. My guess is large volumes of stuff like blankets and all the stuff that people need are piling up in places that don't need any more support or aid. That it needs to get down into the individual homes, and people who are housebound, the elderly, the people who can't get out, the people who are afraid to get out. It's just the system is just basically lacking, which I find profoundly depressing. And I had seen a video here on the YouTube, about a fellow English teacher who was living in a seaside community, and he had mentioned that the NPOs here really are insufficient for this kind of terrible disaster, and perhaps it might be best for people who are willing to take action to do something about it. And it got me thinking. So here in Shizuoka, we're on the Tokai area, which is, I don't know if you're familiar, but if you type in, your search engine, you type in Tokai and then earthquake, you're going to get, I mean, this place is going to blow. Now, I suppose one could say, Lex, you're a moron. What the hell are you living in a place like this for? Well, I didn't choose it. This is where my wife and her family are from. So, I mean, it's a very nice place to live. In many ways, it reminds me of California. So, what's going to happen when this place blows? Because it's not a question of if, it's a question of when, right? So I started thinking about it, and perhaps the best thing to do would be for me to start an NPO. So if anybody is watching this video or has experience on setting up that kind of thing, I would really appreciate, I don't know, like just a shout out or a comment, something, an email, a message, private message. I mean, I reckon I could figure it out myself, but certainly would be nice to know if anybody else is out there and has a piece of advice, because Japan sure could use it. And when the Tokai quake goes, this place is going to need it big time. Anyway, I wish I had some good news to report. Let me think. Well, there's a large number of heroes in this story. I mean, the firemen and the self-defense force and the police that are exposing themselves to this radiation are true heroes, and I don't really see a lot of coverage about that, which I kind of find also depressing. That seems to be the word of the day, at least for this video. Well, what can I say? That's all for now. Sayonara.